Everybody. I am so excited to be here. This is the Junk You Should Know Show. I'm Dr. Heather Denniston, and with me today is Debbie Rosemont, and we are going to hear about her. I'm so excited to have her with us. We're going to be talking about getting organized for the health of it, because of course, what we talk a lot about is health, fitness, nutrition, stress management, and what Debbie's going to teach us today is how organization works into that. And I know we all get stressed out when we're disorganized, and that's not good. So I'm super excited that. Welcome to the show, Debbie. I'm so honored you joined me today.
Thank you. And it's a privilege to be here. I love the work that you do and the things that you talk about. And I do see a tie between our two areas of expertise. So I think this is a perfect blend of that. And I'm excited.
I do too. I am looking forward, and we've come up between the two of us with some great questions to kind of bring out some of the great information that you have for us. So I'm excited about that. But a couple things first. Number one is our sponsor is always the Change Cave. And my announcement about that today is twofold. One is, as many of you know, the Change Cave is a 12-module online membership community. And we have a very strong community in our private Facebook group, but we also do have 12 modules that we go through every year, and our modules just shifting. We're going from fast fitness into pajama camp. So if you have any sleep issues whatsoever, this is a great time to join the Change Cave. It still is a price of $23.99, which is our beta pricing. I will put the link below, but know that that price is going to change eminently. And so it's a great time to take full opportunity there, full advantage. And so that's the Change Cave, and it's an online membership, production of Well Fit and Fed. And so do check that out. The other thing I want to do is thank the Spring Hill Suites in Flagstaff, which is where I am at right now. They were kind enough to let me come in here and set up, and I got my papers all around me and everything, and they've been super kind, and they have a lovely Wi-Fi. So if you are in Flagstaff and you need a place to stay, do check out the Spring Hill Suites there. They are incredible. One final thing, in the description above, there is a link you can click to get 3 free treats from me. And that is a 5 paleo recipes, a create your own stairs circuit workout, and a figure out which supplements you should be taking. So do click that. That's just complimentary for watching the show. And so that's all the business stuff out of the way. Debbie, please tell me what a certified personal organizer is and does.
Yes, I'm happy to. So certified professional organizer is a designation. It's a professional designation. So I get to, after having earned it in 2007, get to put the initials CPO after my name. It's issued by the Board of Certified Professional Organizers, which developed the certification in conjunction with NAPO, the National Association of Professional Organizers. So lots of acronyms. Long story short, it is a certification earned by putting in a 1,500 or more work hours where you're working with clients and transferring skills so that they can be more organized and productive, and a rigorous course of study and passing an exam. So that's kind of the long and short of it. But it's something that I chose to do when it first came out. So I was part of the inaugural class back in 2007 and continued to recertify, which involves continuing education units and upholding to a code of ethics. But it was important to me to do it because I wanted to show my level of commitment to the industry that I'm in, and also to make sure I was staying on top of my game. And it's a pretty elite group of people that have earned and continuing to maintain their CPO. I'm really proud and pleased to be able to offer more value to our clients and our community with it.
Awesome. That's awesome. And one thing I think of when you talk about that, I know I no longer call myself a health coach because everyone and their dog out there is a health coach. And I'm sure you find that too, that you find out there people out there with organization businesses that don't have any certification. So just for the viewers, when they are looking for someone like yourself in another city, they need to look for a CPO. Is that how?
Well, certainly not a requirement to do business. Like you said, I mean, anybody can hang their shingle. And frankly, that's how I got started was I said, hey, this is an industry that I have skills in and I want to do. I want to be a practitioner. But anybody can do that, right? I got a business license. I got some business insurance and off I went. Again, the certification to me, it's like, I want to see an attorney that has passed the bar exam.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just someone who says that they can offer legal advice, right?
Yeah.
I want to see somebody who's credentialed or certified with some specifically proven skills.
Yeah.
And so that, yes, I think looking for somebody with the certification would mean you're selecting someone who has put something behind their level of commitment to the industry.
I agree too, and that they're keeping up on newest and latest by recertifying. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah.
So Debbie, were you one of those kids, if I came over to your house, would everything have been perfectly placed and all of your blue ribbons would be lined up and everything was perfect? Was this like from day one?
So that's a great question. And yes, but not necessarily intrinsically. It was taught to me. My parents were very organized. Hi, Mom and Dad, if you're watching. But boy, do I appreciate the lessons that I learned, because I've come to find that when you are juggling lots of balls as an adult and, you've got a career and maybe you're pursuing education and you're trying to stay healthy and reach goals and maybe have a family and want to stay connected to friends and have relationships, right? This is a lot to keep track of.
Yeah.
When we are organized, everything is easier. Life is just easier. So blue ribbons, that's funny that you mentioned that, because I'm actually picturing swim ribbons, which were just participation ribbons. It doesn't mean that I was a highly competitive swimmer, but yes, I had participation ribbons hanging from a shelf in my
awesome.
in my room. So
I can totally envision it. Yeah. That's awesome.
Things definitely have place. And I did find myself pulled towards games and activities as a young child that required order, right? So I think it is part of who I am naturally, but also what was taught to me. So I love to play school, where all the pens and pencils had a place and I could boss some students around.
I love that.
I love to organize events. My brother and I would organize these carnivals in our backyard and have different stations.
Oh my gosh, how fun.
Basically an agenda or a schedule that kids would go through, right? So that is definitely how I grew up.
I love that. And now you're working in your gifting, because you are both a leader. You've gone from a one woman show to now you have 8 employees, correct?
Correct.
Yes. And again, your company is called Simply Placed. If you guys want to find it online, you can, on Facebook, she is Simply Placed. And you have a website and all sorts of presence everywhere. So, and one thing I love about you too, is that you don't have to live in the same town as Debbie to work with her. She can definitely do some Skyping and different ways of working with you. So don't hesitate to connect with her after the show. I want to say hi, Linda, for joining us. I'm so glad that you're here, and anybody else who's joining us as well. And so then I had another, I wanted to say, Debbie and I go back a long time. We actually both started our businesses within a year of each other. And I started a brick and mortar chiropractic business. And Debbie and I had all sorts of social circles that we sort of crossed over between, and have been in touch with each other as we've seen each other's business grow and develop and change and evolve. And it's been really, really fun. And I have used Debbie personally several times where she has helped me within, and what I love about it, it was 1 or 2 visits with you, and I had a whole different system going on that worked so much better. Like, that was so cool. And
that's great.
And you are absolutely right when we talk about organization and how it plugs into our wellness, which is our topic of today. Just reducing that level of tension and chaos in our lives can't help but play into mindset. And that's the next question, is how do you see organization playing into mindset and sort of how we're functioning mentally?
I think organization, it doesn't just happen. I think there's definitely intentionality when you get organized, right? I also am known for saying in the work that I do with clients and workshops that organizing is a process. It's not just an event. So it's not just something we do and then we're totally done.
It's good.
And we can say unfortunately, but not really, because we continue to change and evolve, both personally and in our business, in our life and with our relationships. And we want to make sure to review our organized systems periodically to make sure that they're well suited for our current priorities, goals, and situation. So I think the mindset, which is what you asked about, of being intentional in all that you do, can start with organization, because you're going to be intentionally aware of what your goals are. When we're talking about wellness, so fitness goals, health goals, nutrition goals. So being aware of what those goals are, and then being intentional about the way you organize your environment, the way you organize your time, the way you organize your routine and your habits to help you reach those goals. So I think that the mindset of being intentional, which, can go a long way, really could start with organization.
I think too, and it's twofold, isn't it? Because the more you implement those practices in your life, not only is your mind calmer and more open to other wellness choices, but now you have space for it. Like you're saying, if you're not constantly trying to find your keys, you've got 15 more minutes to do a quick workout or whatever. So
time. Mental energy, right? So physical and mental energy. I don't do a lot of residential work myself much anymore. I work with more of our business clients. But yesterday I was involved in helping my team with a big move that we're doing for a client, and unpack and put away to get them organized in their beautiful new home. And I came home physically tired, right? It's physical work to do it. But when you have a system set up and you have a space that's organized, then you're saving mental energy, like you said, about having to wonder where something is, and to free that energy up is great.
It is so much so. And I think on the front side of it, it feels like so much work, but on the back side of it, it's like, it's so much less work than what I would have to do every day to still manage it. So I love that.
The average person wastes an hour a day looking for things they know they have but can't find.
Oh, and
so
that
when
is
we think
so
about the cost of that, it's huge. It's huge.
Yeah, my husband is like, "Why do your keys not go in the same place every day?" And I'm sure those are some tools that you teach as well.
That's the name of the business, Simply Placed, right?
Exactly, Simply Placed. I love that. Yeah. Hey, you have something that you talk about called reducing friction. Is that kind of what we're talking about? Can you share just a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I think when we talk about organization leading to life being easier and your ability to accomplish your goals and spend time on what matters most, it goes hand in hand with the idea of what can you do to organize your time or your space or your stuff to reduce friction, meaning make it easier to get out the door, to get out to exercise. So an example of an organized system or a routine that might help is if in the evening, if you knew in the morning you were going to get up and go for a walk in the morning or go for a hike or whatever, you're going to reduce the friction that's going to naturally happen when you wake up and say, do I really want to do that? Is that, gosh, that's going to take a lot of work. I got to find my exercise clothes. I got to find my shoes, and I got to find this and that. And maybe I need to pack a snack and fill a water. That's a lot of work. Maybe I'll just stay home and stay in my bed instead, right? If instead you've done some things to organize, just taking a few minutes the evening before to lay out the outfit that you're going to wear, to fill up your water bottle and have it ready to go, to pack a little bag with an energy bar or whatever you need to get yourself out the door, and to put all that by the door, including your keys, Heather. And you've now woken up and you don't have very much friction between then and when you could get out the door, right? It's not going to feel hard anymore. You've done all the work. So that's what I talk about, reducing the friction, like doing small things that just make life easier.
I think that's so true. And, I'm working with James Garrett right now, who has a program called Brain and Mind, and he talks about habits, happiness, and productivity. And he hits a lot on that for habit implementation, that if you are trying to establish new habits, you have to create ease as much as possible and reduce friction, like you're saying. And so I think that getting organized is such a big piece of that. You have to create a greased slide to get you out of the door. And and so I love that.
And just having your stuff organized, again, that's a big foundation there. I mean, I think that's part of why, my parents did it and taught it to me. I see my mom online. She is actually watching. Hi, Mom. I talked about you earlier. But one of my biggest fans. Anyway, it's something that those viewers that have children too, this is something you can teach to them. This is something you can involve them in for their own health and wellness as well, because it will continue to serve them well later in life.
Yeah, clearly. It's funny. I've had lots of guests on the show, and I will tell y'all from behind the curtain, Debbie's responses, Debbie's proactivity, Debbie's all of that was so quick and so organized and just it was so buttoned up. And I think when you operate from that space, there's just a calmness, which you definitely possess, Debbie, and an easiness to your day and to all of that. And I do love that. So what are some basic, we've already talked a little bit about like, how do you get yourself out the door for exercise? What are a couple other basic wellness-minded organization tips?
When I think about wellness, I think about, and I know you speak about this too, kind of that holistic approach. It's not just about the weight on the scale, right? It's not just about exercising like a maniac and hope that makes us feel better.
Yes.
But it is about movement. It's about strength and flexibility and getting some cardio in. It's about fueling your body well, both with good whole foods and hydrating. And it's also about mental wellness. And this is particularly top of mind for me, as in this past week, a couple of very well-known people have unfortunately taken their life. So I also think it's about, certainly setting up your environment for success, but also connecting with people. It's about connecting with practitioners who could help, coaches, consultants, therapists, just again, thinking about this tie between organization and wellness as a holistic approach to general wellness. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it absolutely does. And I love that you touched on what I call the PIP, your personal improvement plan, which we talk about in the Change Cave a lot, which is establishing your wellness team. And, your type of work fits right into that, because if there are stumbling blocks within your space, be it your office or your home, that are limiting you from being more effective in your wellness sphere, then that's not going to be helpful to you to get to your goals. And so I love that you talked about establishing a team. I think that's really key. Yeah.
Well, and again, looking at all these components. So we talked about, getting out the door and doing some things you can do there. But there's also just I mentioned the way we fuel or hydrate ourselves. And there are definitely things with organization that you can set yourself up with systems and habits to make meal planning easier, to make it so that you are not having to go to the grocery store every day, but you actually can take some time to plan and know what you need throughout the week, and plan healthy snacks. If you're going to be on the go, we have to plan for that, so we're not picking up fast food, right? We can have our own fast food. For me, I almost always have a bag of almonds in my that's my fast food, right? There are some things that we can do to set ourselves up with reminders for hydrating, right? We can take a habit we want to establish, whether that be exercise or drinking more water or getting to sleep on time or whatever it is, and set ourselves up for success with that.
I love that. Now, Debbie, what are some key practices you do for your own wellness personal program? What are some key organizational things that you do to support that? Like real specific, apps or just things that you consistently do. Help us out here. What are a few key things that the master uses?
Okay, well, I'm going to give you a new one because it's a kind of a new toy for me. It's sitting right here and it's reminding me. So I have one of these Hydrate water bottles that was given to me as a Mother's Day gift. I love this, and this syncs with my Fitbit app. So I do wear a Fitbit, and I think part of organization and establishing new habits and systems is not that you have to spend money on things and not that you have to spend money on apps, but it's about motivating yourself sometimes with something new, but also tracking progress. So an app can help you track that in a very easy, high-tech way, right? So I just wear a little device. I know how many steps I've taken in the day because it's important for me to fit movement in. I now know how many ounces of water I'm drinking a day, and it flashes if I haven't drank water. So I get reminders actually on the water bottle will light up and glow, and then the app reminds me as well, and I can track that. So if that's a habit, a goal to hydrate, that's one of the things that I do practically use.
That's such a good example.
And then here's another example. So when we talk about like organizing in the kitchen, I have almost every day kind of this morning smoothie. My husband and I have it together, and there's certain things that we put in. So I started at looking on your information, a collagen protein powder, and there's a bunch of things that we put in, apple cider vinegar, and just a bunch of things we put in this smoothie. And I found myself kind of running all over the kitchen for these different items, and instead I cleared out a cupboard right above my blender, and these items are right there. So before I was going to the pantry for this and to the spice cabinet for the, the ginger and the stuff, I said, that's crazy, right? And so everything is lined up right above the blender. So this is the organizing principle of keep things close to where they're used. And another way that I'm organized now in my kitchen based on activity, it's so fast and easy to make that smoothie now.
And then you do it more consistently, which is so
Absolutely.
great. Yeah. And I think you also touched on something good. The water bottle does cost more than just like a little cheapo something or other. But the point is that if it is a facilitator to meeting your goals, then what is that price worth for your own health, right? Investing in someone like you, or investing in some app or piece of equipment that's going to help get you there, it's probably worth staving off the insulin shots or the blood pressure medication or the stuff you're going to have to pay for later if you don't deal with this. So I think those are really important investments.
Yeah. And then another thing I personally do and talk about all the time is blocking time, right? So if something's important to me, it needs to go on my calendar. It has to be a priority in my schedule, because if I don't reserve my time, if I don't take it, somebody else is going to steal it from me.
Yes.
So I have on my calendar, workouts and walks. And sometimes I'll schedule those with other people to create accountability. Yeah. That's another great strategy. But time blocking and organizing my time around my goals, including wellness, is another great strategy.
I think that's really great. And I think you touched on that too, is that if you don't block it, somebody's going to steal it from you. Yeah. It's a virus. Yeah. If you don't really clearly go in there and hold space, it's something else some fire is going to take over. Right. And so that's really, really good advice. I do appreciate you saying that. And also, I think white space in our calendar is really important too, is blocking out but not scheduling, so that you can have quiet time and mental sort of calmness. And it could be just relaxing, meditating, stretching, whatever that is. I like that too. And I've only just started. I'm great about scheduling in my workouts and my meal prep on Sundays and all of that. But I've just started, now that I work from home and there are no boundaries, there's no door to go out at the end of the day. I'm having to block white space to say, hey, nothing at this time, nothing.
Yeah. So time to just be. The other thing that will probably encourage you to do is work smarter in the time that is scheduled, right? So I think people confuse busy with productive, right?
Yes,
we can have a lot of activity and we can fill our day with, stuff on our calendar, but, are you really being productive? And that's both personally and professionally. Are you doing things that are in line with your values? Because that's going to feel fulfilling. Or are you wasting time and just being in frantic motion, which is not necessarily equal being productive?
Well, and I think that goes back to your organization, is choosing, things that you're doing and spending time on, in line with your goal. That's all part of having your life organized, so that you're not running around like, doing stuff that just is busy and you're like, oh, I can't ever get anything done.
Right.
And it's because of a big part of what you do and what you've done with me when you've worked with me is prioritizing. Like, let's just stop for a second and prioritize what's really important here. So I think that's super key. And talk a little bit, I didn't prep, we didn't talk about this, but clutter, because how do you think clutter plays into wellness?
So clutter, and let's define that for a second, just, everyone might call it something else, but I think clutter is having too much stuff or stuff that doesn't add value to your life or your work or your home. Yeah. Clutter is what gets in our way of our being able to find what we need when we need it. It also weighs down on us.
Yes.
So we did in the It's About Time virtual productivity program. I know we're going to chat about that a little bit later, but in May, so each month, this is a membership group and we do a monthly challenge. And in the month of May, our challenge was a minimalism challenge. It was to clear clutter. And each member released an item per day of the calendar. So on May 1st, we were charged to let go of one item. On May 15th, it was 15 items. On May 31st, 31 items, right? So throughout the month, members released about 496 items. There was one day, and we were posting pictures of what we were letting go of on that day and cheering each other along. Somebody posted this stack of books on weight loss, and it was just
like self-help books.
She said, exactly. She said, I got this stack of books on weight loss, and they never helped. And I said, letting go of them in this case. You are releasing weight right now. And it might not be from her body, but it could lead to releasing weight in her body if that's a goal for her when she has less clutter in her life.
Oh,
so
gosh,
for sure, this stuff it can block us from achieving our goals. It can get in our way. It can distract us from focusing. It causes stress, which we know is not good. And it takes time to deal with all this stuff.
Yeah, that is so good. And can you just mention the name of your course again? We're going to talk about it at the end because you have a little special for people who've been watching today. I'm so excited.
Thank you.
Just tell me the name of it again for those that are midstream watching.
Yeah, so this is a membership group that we run. It's called It's About Time. It's a virtual productivity program.
I love it. And that challenge alone is worth the price of admission because I think that's a fantastic idea. And the next question I had for you is, first steps for someone who is completely disorganized, who just has the hardest time. That 30-day challenge would be a great first step, I think. But what, when you walk into a place and you're like, okay, we are starting from ground zero, what are some things that you talk about?
A lot of people, when they call and ask for help or we speak about organization, they're feeling overwhelmed. So the first step is usually a big, deep breath. Just to kind of, right? We have to let go of a little bit, get over that overwhelm. And I feel like I've been told that's one of my organizing superpowers is to help people take away the overwhelm. To be able to look at a space or an area that you want to organize and think about starting small, right? So with health and wellness, sometimes the first step is just lacing up your shoes. That's all you got to do is just put those shoes on, and you might not, feel ready to go out and, walk for an hour. But what if you just got out the door and started and said, what, if all I do is 10 minutes, that's okay. I'm just going to get started. And what happens most of the time is that you want to do more. Once you get started, starting is the hardest part. So same with organization. If somebody wants to organize their whole home or a big office, I say pick a place to start, right? Pick a drawer, pick a small room, pick an area, and just get started. So we walk people, our clients, and those we work with virtually, we walk them through a process to help break down the steps of organizing so that it is less overwhelming. But sometimes just picking a place to start, someplace that's irritating you, someplace that when you have that organized, you're going to feel some immediate relief. That is a way to get started.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I know, Debbie, you work a lot with corporations. And one of the things that helped me was somebody prior to my meeting you, they talked about if you're walking into your office every day, and I had a practice and I was walking through it, if there is one thing that irritates you, know that is in your brain when you're putting your hands on people and you are working on people. And so he was really good about, just that one, to address that one thing, and then whatever the next thing is, that one thing, just do it. And I love that idea of you saying, okay, just pick a drawer. And then, in some of this brain work that I'm doing, we talk about how so many people go, oh, I need to get motivated to get moving. And it's getting moving actually motivates you.
Yes, absolutely.
And so doing a first step actually builds the motivation. You don't build the motivation and then take that first step. And so that's the tying your shoe, the cleaning one drawer out. That's great.
Yeah.
Anything else on that category? Those are great.
Yeah. So the question was, how do you get started? I think clearing clutter is an
Yes.
obvious first place to start
Yep.
too. Don't waste time organizing stuff that's not adding value to your life, to your space, to your situation.
Oh,
Clear
that's
that
good.
clutter out, right? And then organize what's left.
Yeah.
We do work with a lot of people who are in some sort of transition. So I mentioned before, organizing as a process, not an event. So you might be reorganizing or looking at a space you've already organized, and maybe you're in some sort of transition or life has changed since you organized that before. So even if you feel like you've made decisions on your things in the past, you might look at them with fresh eyes, given where you are right now and what your current priorities and goals are.
So true. And so just reiterating, you're saying that you don't organize something and close the door and walk away from it. It's a dynamic situation. It's a process. It's kind of a way of being, isn't it?
Yes.
That's great.
Yes, it is.
So Debbie, we talked about your awesome water bottle. Any other apps, books, texts, or tips for us today?
Yeah, I think we talked about a calendar. To me, that's, I mean, and that can be something electronic if that's what works for you. You know, we carry these around all the time. And so some people find using an electronic calendar so that they have their appointments, promises, and commitments with them wherever they go is helpful. I don't care if you use a daily planner, it's a paper planner, or an app, or, you know, Outlook or whatever on your phone, but use some sort of calendar and task management system. That's definitely a tip.
That's great.
As far as other apps are concerned, I think it's based on interest. So I mentioned Fitbit. You know, there are some great health-related apps to help you track what you're putting in and putting out. MyFitnessPal is one. I'm sure you talk about a number of them. But if you're working on a short-term or long-term health or wellness goal, there are lots of apps to help you track progress, track. Yeah, I love numbers in this way. I like data. I like seeing change and being able to say, well, that's because I did this you know, over the last month. So those are all helpful as well.
And I think data tracking helps you get rid of the chaff as well, because you see what's working and what's not. And sometimes if you're not data tracking, you can't tell what inputs are creating the outputs you're looking for. And so I love that. I just want to say hi to Cynthia. And is Eva your mom, Debbie?
Yes.
Hi, Eva. It's good to see you. And thank you, Linda, as well, for being here. And anyone else who's joined us and anybody who's watching the replay, thank you so much for watching as well. Now, Debbie, there's a couple things here. We've got a productivity program that you have, and then we are doing some special stuff for the viewers today. Your membership program is usually $97 a month, but you are going to offer something.
Yep, so we're going to knock some off of that for anybody who just joined this week. It's $87 per month, or you can get it at $67 per month if you commit to a year. So a year is, so I mean, that's a third off. And I think, what members are saying is it is well worth the value because we emphasize implementation and taking action, not just lessons learned. So
and I love that you're realistic. My membership program as well, it is a monthly membership program, but my suggestion is you belong for a year before you make a decision. These transitions, these growth opportunities, all of this, they do not happen overnight. We would be fooling people if we could say you could get organized in 10 days or less. And so I love that you have a program that's kind of like, well, annual is about what you want to do. So
well, and it sounds like yours, our program also does a deep dive in a particular topic around organization or productivity that's different each month. So you've got your pajama, what'd you call it?
Pajama camp. That's what we're doing this month.
I love that, by the way. And that's another, I'll give a little plug for organizing your bedroom. If you have a good evening routine and an organized, calm, and serene space, it helps with sleep. Anyway, our monthly program also is a deep dive in a particular topic each month that helps members be more organized and productive. So I think it's worth being involved in all year round so that you don't miss something that's really going to hit the mark for you.
That is so great. And so not only are you offering that part of the discount, you're also throwing in a program called Meal Planning Made Easy, which is part of what we talked about today, is that when you meal plan, you're going to execute more efficiently, things are going to be more organized, you're going to have freedom to do other things. So guys, I'm telling you, go down into the comments, click the link that Debbie's going to put right after the show, and take advantage of this. Just learn a little bit more about the program. And it is such a wonderful added component to your wellness personal ambition. And I strongly, strongly, strongly support the work that Debbie does, and suggest that anybody who struggles in this area should reach out to her and connect, because she does incredible, incredible work.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And so any final words before we kind of wrap things up, Debbie?
I guess the last thing I'd leave your viewers with, again, I know people are here because they're interested in health and wellness and vitality. And the thing I would leave you with is you are worth it, right? Yeah. Each person, anyone here that's listening, you are worth investing in yourself. And again, I'm not talking about high ticket, high price investing necessarily, but you are worth investing time and energy into your well-being as a whole person. And so whether that's through physically getting organized, whether it's through meal planning and taking time around your nutrition, whether that's around getting yourself set up to be able to move and be as active as you want to be, you're worth it. You're worth taking the time to do that, to set up your environment to do that, to equip yourself with education and knowledge to do that, and to make sure that you have time to achieve those goals around health and wellness. Absolutely
so good. So good. And when you're on the other side of it and you're like, oh, why didn't I do this? It's so much easier now. And so if I can strongly urge you, take action now, not 2 weeks from now. Reach out to Debbie, Simply Placed, or who's ever local to your area, and make that part of your program. So anybody who's watching live, I want to thank you so much for joining us on a Friday afternoon. I'm in Flagstaff, Debbie's in Seattle area, and I'm back every noon Friday PST with the Junk You Should Know show. And Debbie, thank you so much for being here. We will put we'll put all the, oh, Debbie, do you have your little timer?
Oh, I do.
Okay, this was like my most favorite thing I wanted to show on the show. This thing changed my life, you guys. Okay, explain it.
Yeah, this is the time timer, and you can find it at timetimer.com, or you can order it directly through us. I love this timer for so many reasons, but it's great if you need to stay on task for a certain period of time. So
lift it up just a little bit.
Sorry?
Just up a little bit. There you go.
Okay,
great.
So you set the time, if you want to stay on task for 25 minutes, to do something for 25 minutes, and then you're going to give yourself a 5-minute break and then get back on task again. You set the time and the red goes away as time passes, right?
Yeah.
So that would happen automatically. And there's a little subtle beep that happens at the end. But I love this for staying on task for a certain period of time. I love it for using with kids. This is a great, yes, you can play that video game just as soon as you've read for 20 minutes. Here's where, right? So
great.
I use it when I speak publicly as well. So I'll put this on the podium facing me, so I don't have to be looking at a watch or pulling up my phone or trying to hope that there's a clock in the room. So many applications for the time timer. Yeah.
And you know what my most favorite, well, there's so many things. I literally love it. But I also love that those that are trying to do what I call block and tackle, where you take a period of time and you use it for a very specific task or purpose so that you're more efficient, is that most of us want to check the time on our phones, and everybody has notifications and alerts, and it's going to cause you to context shift and look at your Facebook and do all those things. That thing will not, and I love it. And so please go to simplyplace.com and just order 10 of them, give them out to all your friends. And I've had mine, I think, 8 or 9 years, and mine just wore out. I need to buy a couple more, so I will after our show today.
Let's connect.
Let's connect. Exactly. So anyway, thank you. I'm glad we remembered that. That's a great note to end off on. Debbie, I want to thank you for coming on the show today, and I look forward to speaking with you again. I hope we can have you on again in the future. And
it would be a pleasure.
Awesome. Okay, great. Well, listen, Debbie, stay on. after we close out the show. But goodbye to everybody and those watching replay. I'm so grateful for you. Those watching live, I love you guys all to death. We'll talk to you next Friday at noon. We'll see you. Have a great weekend.
Bye.